Good day or good evening, whatever time it is where you're watching this video. We're going to be going straight to the beach on this one. Yes, it's the middle of winter for us here in the northern hemisphere. I understand this. But when you hear what entity has approached me in this day, you're going to understand why. We're sitting at my beach towel with some Caribbean music in the background, the seashells. Because as I was driving home, very loudly in my inner ear, I heard the word Calypso. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. See, I was on this journey this week. And I was getting messages about big waves and just all kinds of like beachy stuff. And finally, when I heard Calypso, it all just kind of fell into place for me. So here we are. This is going to be a message from Calypso. So the few things that I know of Calypso is that she was the daughter of Atlas. And she lived on her own island by herself in the middle of the sea until one day when Odysseus arrived. And she just couldn't let him go. The story goes that she had used her voice and her music to almost kind of hypnotize him into staying on this island with her. And the story says that he stayed there for 7 years until Zeus took action and basically told her, you need to let the guy leave, dude. Calypso is considered to be a goddess of the sea. And working alongside Poseidon, she's kind of like the ruler of the waves of the ocean. She's known to have a little bit of anger issues, a little bit unpredictable, kind of like the waves of the ocean can get. And so that's where that relation comes from. She's got a hot temper. But she's also very cool because the time that I've spent with her since I heard her name earlier in this day, she's been pretty awesome to vibe with. And she's been bringing some things in along the way as well, until this very moment when I sat down to have this seat at the table with Calypso. One thing in particular that kept coming up, I went on a pretty long drive today. About, I would say, maybe 3 hours worth. And I had my YouTube playlist going. It was on my Super Mix. And for some reason, this particular song kept coming on over and over again, even though I was shuffling, all the songs under the sun, basically. And the song was called Cabin by the Sea by Dirty Heads. And the part of the song where it says, when the sun goes down, we can light a fire. That's the part that she really, really liked. She seemed to really like that part, and that's all that I can hear echoing in my mind right now, too. So that's definitely one thing that I wanted to start with sharing is that song in particular. But amongst those songs, there was a whole hell of a lot more of that style of, like, that genre of music that kept playing on my drive. And that doesn't usually happen, unless I give it over to the spirit that I am speaking with. Because when I'm on my own wavelength, only really like a couple genres come on. So this is how I can really tell that the airwaves were taken over in the moment. So I appreciate you, Calypso. I appreciate you for approaching me and wanting to do this. And wanting to sit at my table in this evening. Now I've laid out the decks that she helped choose for the evening. She said that she was going to let me know how many cards. We've gone through, we've cleared the energies, and we've infused them, I should say, with the energies of Calypso. for this reading. And she said that she would let me know how many cards out of each pile. But yeah, with that cabin in the Cabin by the Sea song, it really reminded me a little bit of her story in a way, because it also goes into talking, she said 3 of these. It also goes into talking about how the storm never came. And Calypso is also known for, you know, causing storms on the ocean. And I know a lot of sailors kind of pray to Calypso for safety and for, you know, to keep the seas nice and calm. Also, another thing that was coming up, she said 2 of these, okay. Another thing that was coming up was that phrase that the sailors use. It says, red sky at night, sailor's delight. That kept playing over and over in my mind as well. Red sky at night, sailor's delight. She said 3 of these. Okay. But yeah, after Zeus had made her basically free Odysseus, times really got dark for her, and that's when her storminess really started happening. You know, that's when the seas got a little rough there. And I believe there's part of the story where she tried to exit. We'll just put it that way. She tried to exit herself because she was so depressed and sad over losing Odysseus and having to remain on this island by herself. She's also known for being strikingly beautiful as well. And she relates a lot to music, which also reminds me of like the siren energy, you know, like the mermaid siren style energies. So anyways, let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? Let's see what these 3 are. First, we have Apocalypsis, the Queen, and the Mirror. So Apocalypsis in this deck speaks of a particularly painful time in one's life. And this painful experience that this card speaks of is 2 different things that happen. First, it's a lifting of the veil and a truth being revealed, and how painful this truth is to fully be able to see it and experience it. And then the second part of this painful thing, this apocalypsis, is the regeneration that comes from the truth that was revealed. It's kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes kind of thing. Kind of like when a forest fire occurs, like a natural, you know, non-man-made forest fire. It occurs, and it looks like it might be detrimental at the time, but really what it's doing is it's causing things to grow even bigger. It's like a purification for the sake of regeneration, basically. That's what this card is about. I'm finding this Queen card quite interesting because in this specific deck, it speaks about the Queen being the ruler and having a very dualistic nature. It speaks of ruling over her kingdom either with grace or elegance, class, sophistication, you know, all that. Or she can fall into a more petty role, a more moody, like shadow-like queen. And that's why I find this interesting, because that's kind of her persona. She could either be very uplifting and very, whimsical and light and airy, or she can be that storm. She can be the winds that cause the great tidal waves, And with this mirror coming out right after that, she can either choose one or the other. She can choose which aspect she wants to reflect. Whether she wants to be the graceful, the kind, the uplifting, or if she wants to cast shadow. I went ahead and lit another cone over here, and I moved the cards over. I did not look at them, but I moved them over so we could see them a little bit better. So anyways, as I was saying, there was this truth that the veil had been hiding. And the veil was ripped back, ripped away. And this truth, or this, the action of removing the veil from it, has caused pain. And yet the pain has caused regeneration, It caused things to grow and morph. Kind of being put to use, almost, is where I'm getting at with that one. The pain is then put to use and is grown from. We got this queen who has the choice to reflect what she wants to reflect. And I can really see how this also relates to the story of Calypso herself, but also how it could relate to an everyday life thing. Now I'm being guided to go ahead and look into these real quick. We have your intuition is your greatest guide. Trust your inner voice. A mystical connection will bring you unexpected allies. And another one about intuition. Your intuition is your greatest strength. Trust it. So she's being real heavy on this intuition thing. Please excuse the backfiring hot rod going down the street right now. But extra emphasis on that intuition. That's what I take that as. You're really being asked here to trust your intuition on something. It's your greatest strength. It's your greatest guide. Trust your inner voice. That inner voice is going to bring you to these mystical connections. And it's going to bring you unexpected allies. Kind of like how Calypso, she got me unexpectedly. And yet, after she entered my mind today, just very loudly and blatantly, she probably got tired of me not getting it, which quite often happens with me in spirit. But the fact that she was around. She was around this whole week for me. And I didn't quite get it. I didn't quite get it. But I was also very distracted. It's the start of the holidays, Blah, blah, blah. But anyways, this intuition is going to bring you to a very mystical connection. And she's saying these cards are going to give us a clue as to what this mystical connection is going to be. Interesting. We have Angel of Love. And then we have Healer of the Ages. I'm going to go ahead and grab one more card from here for a clarifier on that. Because I can kind of feel like a pretty heavy incoming of a message here. The angel of balance. Divine balance, right? Divine balance, divine love. And when I read the healer of the ages, I heard healing of the ages. New ages call for a new way of healing. And I'm hearing that this new way is being brought forth through the ancient wisdom that has almost been forgotten, but it's starting to waken up again and starting to be used the way it was meant to be used, I'm hearing. And I can't help but think about Calypso's story. It was kind of a love story, except for the fact that she had made the man stay there with her. But it's kind of like a healing of that energy almost, with the angel of love coming out and the balance. And within the book, card number 51, the healer of the ages, stands for health and vitality. And it speaks of a force of ancient wisdom and profound healing. And the angel of love, card number 49, speaks of tender connections. And it does speak of someone who may be looking for their new love, or for their soulmate, or their twin flame, whatever you may call it. And this card showing up kind of signifies its upcoming approach. And with the angel of balance over the top of that, I've got the vibe that this is occurring because a divine balance within oneself has occurred. And that's like the last thing that really needed to happen in order to bring in like a soul level kind of love. And with all this intuition and trusting and letting your intuition be your greatest guide, there is going to be some mystical way you guys are going to connect. I'm kind of wondering if maybe this is for someone who resonates with possibly the energies of Calypso and Odysseus. But that's just maybe a fleeting thought. But it could be a past life kind of energy. Not necessarily Calypso and Odysseus, but perhaps this is just past life energy. That's what I'm feeling. These two souls that are coming together have been together time and time again in past lives, and I'm hearing now that they have been known, worldwide for being healers, for being, divine masculine and divine feminine energies, divine masters. And it's destiny for them to unite again in this time, I heard. Wow, that's pretty profound. Thank you, Calypso. Didn't know our beach trip was going to take us there, but I love it. Thank you. Let's delve into this last card, shall we? We have Herkimer Diamond and Snowdrop. Resurrection. Commitment, purification, and devotion. Wow. That kind of sent a cold shiver up the back of my neck. I'm going to go ahead and look in the book here because these cards are fairly new to me. This is kind of starting to remind me of a video that I put out, I don't know how long ago, it was a while ago, but it ended up being like a surprise love style reading. And it was about these two people that really worked on themselves at a soul level within this lifetime. And that their original contract, their soul contract, had some very small print there that neither one of them really went over, because it was just like, it was kind of like they knew of it, but they didn't think this was going to happen. And that was the fact that divine balance and full soul integration was required in order for both of them to be able to meet in the physical on Earth at this time. I wish I could remember what it was called, but I can't remember. It's got like hearts on the picture, on the thumbnail. But that's what this is starting to remind me of, just a little bit. Just a little bit, for sure. As I got up to go get the book to this deck, I was pulled back to that mirror card. And Calypso said, mirrored image. And then she started showing me how what once might have been a divine masculine in said past lives, in this lifetime, that person would be in a divine feminine form, and vice versa. So I just wanted to include that little tidbit from what she had shared with me as I got up to go get the book about this Herkimer Diamond Resurrection card. And I'm not going to read the entire thing and bore all of you to death, but I will go ahead and read this one little part here. For Herkimer Diamond, it says, at times we need reminding how bright we are. Situations can wear us down and we can doubt and question ourselves. Herkimer Diamond amplifies our heart's fire and reflects such vast light, making it hard to ignore. That part right there really reminded me about how Calypso really liked that part of the song where it says, when the sun goes down, we can light the fire. It goes on to say, this brings harmony to your space and heart. Herkimer Diamond is a master at this, holding space within and around you for realizations. So perhaps you're coming into a realization of just who your soul might be. And Herkimer Diamond is presenting itself so that perhaps you can call upon it for actualizing the realization. And that was so random. I wish I was recording. I had turned off the camera for a second because I needed to flip the page over. And somebody was going down the street blowing a whistle. I've never heard that here, and I have no idea what the hell that was about, but maybe that's significant. I don't know. But whistle blowing. Okay. Oh, I see. Whistleblower. Interesting. Well, let's blow some whistles. I ain't scared. And for Snowdrop, I'll read a little bit out of here. Snowdrop compliments Herkimer's promise to release old patterns by reminding you of your magic and bringing you close to peace and tranquility. The nature of her blooming through the winter months, interesting. At the top I said we're going to the beach even though we're in the dead of winter. So her blooming through the winter months symbolizes the coming of warmer days. Her presence brings hope that you can weather the colder period and bloom once again. She supports the opening of information and awakening coming through your Soma chakra and third eye. It says, before we can rebirth ourselves, our ideas and creations, we need to purify aspects of ourselves and bring awareness to the parts of us that we hide. We need to focus on inner work, which is that balance there, for sure. And release by looking inward, being still and receiving. And then it goes on to say, Herkimer Diamond and the Snowdrop bring the power and alchemy of the resurrection flame into your awareness. When the sun goes down, we can light the fire. That's beautiful, Calypso. I see your magic here. If you work with the Ascended Masters, wow. You might feel Master Yeshua's energy come in as these energies resonate with his teachings of the resurrection flame. Wow, bro. Wow, bro. All right. Wow. Yep. It says it right there in black and white. All right. Wow, that was very interesting. That was a very interesting way of that coming out, wasn't it? Very cool. Right there in black and white. Master Yeshua, thank you. Calypso, thank you. Interesting combination, I must say. I love it. This is why I'm completely open to all of these things, because if you block yourself off of, from one thing to the next, then you're going to miss the connections. You're going to miss those mystical connections. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, if this resonated with y'all at all, or if it was even just a little bit entertaining, I sure would at least appreciate a thumbs up on the video. And if you're new here and you would like to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when I put out new videos, as I do very often. When I hear spirit calling, I listen and I act accordingly. And I would love to continue to do that. And it's not about numbers at all for me. The likes, I'm asking for those. It's more so that the video gets pushed out more, so it can reach more people. Because I am also an energy worker and healer, and I also heal through the tones of my voice as well. So while I'm doing readings for wink wink entertainment only, wink wink, I'm also working on healing the collective as well. So I thank you in advance. Thank you guys for being here. I love you all very, very, very unconditionally. I appreciate each and every one of you. Each and every individual out there serves a purpose and has a purpose. And thank you guys for following your passions and going towards your north nodes. It's really what the world needs. So keep going. Thank you for being here with me. Until next time, I'll stop blabbering now. Okay, bye.